Hi everybody, welcome. It's Nathan doing the first of who knows, perhaps a series about the Camino Info on the Camino in an effort to be helpful to others who have wanted to do this for quite some time or maybe even just a short time. Anyway, I'm getting online a couple of minutes early, hoping that some people will just let me know that they're watching. Already I'm seeing Cindy's here and Aaron is here. Thank you both very much. And so yeah, the way this is going to work is I'm reading off of my iMac, which is behind my phone. Oh, Darlene's here too. Cool. I'm going to read through this this document that I prepared, and I will gladly send anybody a copy of this information if they want it. And I'll send information about that at the end of the call. Hi, Pauline. All right, we got 4 people watching and less than a minute to go. So. Deb Galden, do I see? Oh, Deb Galden's giving me a like. Hi, Deb. Okay, I've made sure everything is within arm's reach. So, hi, Deb. Oh, yay, that's cool. Good. I have some dear friends watching already. That's nice. It's good to know that I will be with some people who are near and dear to me, on top of everybody else. Okay, let's see. 15 seconds. I think I'll just launch on time. Allison's here. Hi, Allison. Okay. And it's 5 p.m. Okay, let's officially start. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Jane. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I hope it goes smoothly. I've never done one of these before, so we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. I really want to do it well. So anyway, I can see you. Hi, Alison. I can see, as you get on, I can see a list saying who's watching, and I can read your comments. So if you have questions, by any means, hi, Michelle. If by any means you have questions, please write them, and I'll try to respond to them as they come up. Let me just get something to write on. Here we are up on the shelf. Okay, and a pen. Okay, good. So, as I believe most of you know, or all of you know, I walked the Camino Francais, the French Camino, in September and October. I left on September 7th, and I returned on October 17th. I gave myself 40 days. And, yeah, I learned an awful lot. And they say that the second trip is the one that you wanted to make the first time. Rick Steves, the travel guru in Washington State, says that. So that's exactly what I'm hoping, that when I go back the second time, I certainly enjoyed the first Camino, and I want to enjoy it a lot more, and I will explain that as we go. So, first thing I want to say is, let me just repeat this for those of you who joined a little bit, well, on time or close to on time. I am reading from a document that I prepared. It's about 3 pages, and I will gladly send you a PDF of that file at the end of this call, my request, and it's completely up to you. I would love to go back to the Camino in September, and if you'd be kind enough to make a contribution to my trip in whatever amount feels right to you, if this information is valuable to you, please do that, and if not, please still accept it with my love. I really want to encourage people to have this experience. So you sit with that and do what feels right to you. Okay, so first thing, inner prep. Question I want you all to ask yourself is, why do you want to do this? Sharing from my experience, it's something that's been on my bucket list for a few years. Like many people in North America, I saw The Way with Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez. Definitely had an impact on me. And in April of this year, I was visiting my mom. We watched a movie, and the movie just got me to a place of, wow, you know, the only time we have is now. So if I'm going to do this, let's do this. So I made a commitment to walk the Camino as my birthday present to myself this year. And so that was my reason, besides what I've just said, is, wondering if I would do some deep listening and get some new insights into where I'm going and what's going on in my life. Should it be a new direction or a deepening of a current direction? So that's the first thing I want to say about that, is for you to just give some thought to why you would want to do this. And second, how can you make the Camino more personal? One of the things that I did was I asked requests of people. Is there something that you want me to do for you as I walk the Camino? And I got about a dozen, and excuse me, I fulfilled, I think, 10 of them to the best of my ability. And that was fun to do something for someone back home while I was walking. So that's another way that you can make the trip more your own. And I should say, actually, that you could walk the Camino 1,000 times, and every time would be different based on the weather, the places you would stay, the places you would stop, the people you meet, the time of year, all that stuff. So you can't go wrong. It's a wonderful experience every time out. Okay, out of preparation, I would like to suggest a few websites. One is santiago.ca for the Canadian viewers. That's the website of the Canadian Company of Pilgrims. They have 16 different chapters across Canada. I just went to their fall meeting in Vancouver, and it was wonderful. I got a chance to meet other people who have walked, and we got a chance to watch several presentations on Camino routes I haven't taken yet. There are 12 and growing. There are a few more in development, amazingly. So I would encourage you to find an organization in your country, whether that's Canada, the US, or Europe, or Asia, or whatever, that can get you connected to other pilgrims. First and foremost, pardon me, your reason for doing that would be to get one of these puppies. This is a, what do you call it? Credential. So this is what you will be walking with as you walk the Camino. And every time you stop somewhere, it will be stamped. So here's my Camino showing my route. And basically, when you get to the end of when you get to Santiago de Compostela at the end of the pilgrimage, this is proof that you have walked the whole thing, and then they will then give you a document in Latin saying, saying very nicely in Latin that you've done it and congratulations and all the rest. But you have to present one of these to get that. So that would be your first reason for joining one of these organizations. Another website that I would like to recommend is caminodesantiago.me. That's a wonderful website filled with information of all kinds. So you could literally go in there and just type, probably find out about most of the things I'm going to talk to you about today. But if there's something that I miss or something you want to read more about, you can get several other opinions at that website. Excuse me. So the two most important things I want to say to you about preparing. These are two of the biggest mistakes, and I made several. I made several mistakes on the way. Here are the two biggest ones, the ones that I don't want you to make. Number one, buy your shoes ahead of time and break them in. Walk around in those shoes. You can certainly break them in 500 miles / 800 kilometers, which I did, but make it a little easier on your feet and break them in before you go. Second, and I can't stress this enough, don't go with too much weight. I made that mistake. I knew that I was supposed to go with about 1/10 of my body weight, which in my case would be about 17.5, 18 pounds. And the absolute maximum upper limit should be 22 pounds. And much to my horror, I discovered only when I got back that Ike was carrying 36 pounds. So that resulted in injuries that I sustained all the way through the Camino. After a week, I got rid of some weight at the post office in Logrono, mailed it ahead to Santiago de Compostela, and I still suffered. So it really is an exercise in weighing all of your stuff extremely carefully, and that's the reason why I want to share my packing list with you, so that we can talk about what you can take and what you really don't need to take. Okay, dates for me. People walk all 4 seasons. Summer, of course, is the busiest time, July and August. I wouldn't go in summertime for 3 reasons. 1, I'm very busy in my musical life. 2, it's way too hot. And 3, way too many people. So if you're going to go at that time of year, go for it. And just know that It'll be extremely hot and extremely busy. So if you want the Camino to be a private, quiet experience, that's not the time to go. The shoulder seasons, which is spring, April, May, June, and September, October, maybe November, are more attractive. I love going to Europe in September and October. That's when I'll go back next time, and probably every time. It's a little cooler. The mornings are certainly quite cool. It got down to about 8-9 degrees centigrade, which I think would be about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And then in the afternoon it would be really hot, and we'd be down to t-shirts. So that would be the reason why I would go, and there are less people too. So it just makes for a more pleasurable experience. It certainly did for me. Transportation. 2 websites I would like to recommend for you to look at flights. One is skyscanner.ca. That's skyscanner.ca. And the second is flighthub.com. And again, mistake, small m, I guess. What I decided to do was to fly from Vancouver to Paris, and then take trains from Paris down to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is the place that the French Camino begins. That translates as St. John at the foot of the bridge. It's a small town just inside the French border. And on the first day, you cross the Pyrenees Mountains and into Spain. Doing some research for this call last night, and after having done it, of course, once, I've decided that this time what I'm going to do is fly from Vancouver to a town in France called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Biarritz, Biarritz, and then going from Biarritz to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port by train. So again, I've included all this information in the file that I'm sending you. The price I found last night to fly from Vancouver to Biarritz was 556 Canadian, which is amazing. And then take a taxi, which would be about 15 minutes to the nearest train station, and that's about 20 euros. And then the train itself is 19 euros, and that's about an hour and a half. So anyway, much faster than what I did this time out. Hello to all the people that are coming online. Hey Karen, hey Dan Chapman. Dan Chapman, wow, that's great. The Camino Bible, I would say, is this book. Excuse me for reaching down. The Way of St. James by John. I've been saying his last name so many times I forgot his first name, John Brierley. And this book is filled with incredible information about absolutely every aspect of the Camino, preparation on the way, places to stay, maps. It's a fantastic little book, and pretty small, can easily fit in a fanny pack, which is what I carried all the way along the Camino. So I would highly recommend that you get a copy of this. You can also get a maps only version, which I also bought, and you can get some electronic versions of books. This book, I just looked again last night. This book is not available as in an e-version, so that's a little bit of weight that you'd be carrying, but it wouldn't be on your back. It would be in your waist pack or your fanny pack, because you're going to be consulting this a lot as you walk. What else do I want to say? That's enough for that. On page 17 of this book, let's talk about accommodation. There are all kinds of different accommodation on the trail. 6 different kinds of hostels, or the Spanish word is albergue, A-L-B-E-R-G-U-E. And the cheapest are the municipal albergues, and then that goes up into private albergues, and then you can also find hotels in some places. Most of the time I opted for the least expensive, and most of the time they were just fine. I never experienced any issues with cleanliness. There were a couple of weird things that happened, small things. There was one place that when lights went out, they turned the electricity off till the next morning. So that was a little weird. And little things like in the cheaper albergues, maybe there'd be issues with toilet paper running out the next morning. And you start discovering that if you pay a few more euros every night, those kinds of things don't seem to happen. So, but again, that's not a hard and fast rule. I had the best food, evening meal and breakfast meal at one of the municipal albergues in the middle of the trip. So your experience may vary, and we'll get into another reason why you may want to do hotels or something a little better as we go on. What else? So let's talk about gear. Hi to Ruben Gurr, hi to Pat Patterson, hi to Deborah Diane, hi to Joe B. Downs. Wow, this is great. Everybody's coming on. Kim Yalda, yay! Okay, so here's my pack. I opted for a 35-liter pack. So part of me knew that I shouldn't be bringing a heavy pack, so I got this. Most people get, I think, 40 or 45 even. Osprey is a very popular make, Osprey. This is Gregory. I don't know if it's a Canadian make or not, but you can see it's not extremely big, but it's the perfect size for me. And I think it's a good way to discipline yourself to not bring too much. So this is a Gregory 35-liter pack. Cost me 165 Canadian-ish, something like that. I liked it because it has a really nice support for the back, plenty of pockets. This pouch in the front has a rain cover which you can put over the whole pack. I liked that it was orange, that it would stand out on the trail, and I certainly didn't see anybody else anywhere that had an orange pack, so mine was easy to always pick out of the albergues when I was leaving in the morning. So that's it for packs. Next piece of gear, which I highly, highly recommend, are dry bags. In Canada, the big outfitting store is MEC, Mountain Equipment Co-op. And so these are dry bags. The brand name is right there. It's not brand, MEC is the brand name, but the kind is Nano 3D 10 liter. I don't know if you can see that. Am I holding it in the right place? There it is. And they come in many different sizes, 5 liters, 3 liters, 15 liters. I like the size of these. 3 of these fit into my pack very well. And I will actually get a fourth one, and I'll say why in a couple of minutes. But it's very important to have your stuff in a dry bag, because even though your pack may be protected from the rain, if the rain really comes down, you'll be really happy when you get to an albergue, open your pack, and discover that all your stuff inside is still dry. So very important to get dry bags. I got 3 bags, one black one, one blue one, one green one, and I just arbitrarily decided that the green one would be for toiletries, etc. The blue one would be for clothes, and the black one would be for electronics. And I'm going to get a 4th bag, and in the 4th bag I'm going to get bedding. So let me just jump ahead to that. I brought a sleeping bag with me this trip, and I quickly discovered that for me, your mileage may vary, but for me it was completely unnecessary to have a sleeping bag. I found that most of the albergues had the heat on so high at night that I would be tossing off the sleeping bag. I was sweating. And as the weather got cooler, all of the albergues were providing blankets. So what I'm going to do now, when I go back, is I'm going to have a set of a fitted sheet underneath me, a sheet over me, and a pillowcase. And I will just sleep in long underwear, or use the blankets, whatever. I don't find I need anything else. You may feel uncomfortable with that. You may want to take a sleeping bag, but I'm not going to. And certainly one of my reasons is just to travel even more lightly than I did this time. Okay, so going through the pack a little bit more of a detailed fashion. Inside the green pouch were my toiletries, etc., and I divided those into 4 different pouches. The first one was already in its own pouch. This is a pack towel, PACKTOWL. It's a towel that I decided to get pretty much the same size as a regular towel. You may want to get a smaller one, but I thought because it's really thin and quick drying, which is great, I wanted to get something that I knew would really dry me off well. And it dries super fast, like probably 15 minutes, half an hour it's dry. It's fantastic. So that would be in the first pouch, or in its own pouch, I should say. And in the other 3 freezer bags, this is what I had. In the first one I had soap, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush, and dental floss, a razor, moisturizer, which can also be sunscreen, waterproof band-aids, needles, nail clippers, scissors, and tweezers. So let me explain. The soap. You don't need a soap dish. It's just one more thing that's gonna, I mean, literally, you start making these kinds of decisions. You don't need a soap dish. You can just wrap the soap in a plastic bag so that it doesn't get the rest of your stuff wet and it's lighter. It's fine. Deodorant, nothing to say there. Teeth, nothing to say there. Razor, I actually, my razor and my shaving cream and my moisturizing cream were three of the things that I jettisoned initially after the first week of walking the Camino. And I ended up buying myself a little, disposable razor because I wasn't enjoying what I looked like when my beard started growing in. So this time around, I will just take the razor and I will use soap. There's no need to bring shaving cream. There's no need to bring the moisturizer. Actually, let me say this at this point. One of the things that I really enjoyed was finding multiple uses for things. So I had wonderful moisturizer / sunscreen, and I used that for moisturizing. I used it after I shaved. It was great. If you can find more than one use for something, that's even better. What else do I want to say? Waterproof band-aids. Blisters can be a reality on the trail. They were for me initially, but they stopped being an issue for me once I started carrying less weight. And people talk a lot about this stuff called moleskin as being something that's really great for blisters. I didn't enjoy using moleskin. I tried it once or twice, but moleskin sticks right onto your skin. And if you got a blister, the idea of putting something sticky right onto skin that's exposed did not make any sense to me. So I got waterproof band-aids, put them over my injuries, and that helped them to heal and served quite well. And waterproof band-aids are easy to find anywhere along the way if you don't have any when you go. What else? Needles. Yes, I brought needles because if you do get blisters, you want to have a needle to puncture the blister, drain the liquid. What I found worked best, sorry if it's a little gross for some of you, what I decided to do was to puncture the blister and then just leave it overnight and then just put on the waterproof band-aid in the morning. That gave it a chance to dry out and to heal a little bit better. And that worked very well for me. I never used the moleskin. Nail clippers and scissors and tweezers, self-explanatory. Toilet paper and wipes. If you're out in the middle of somewhere and you really need to take care of nature's call, then you got to be prepared for that. So, be a good pilgrim and pick up after yourself completely, and dispose of your waste when you can somewhere, and keep Spain beautiful. I only had to do that twice, but boy, I was really glad that I had the opportunity to do it. Really had the proper tools to do it when that arose. Excuse me for a second. I've noticed that I'm not online.